Hello and good morning, evening or afternoon, depending on when you are watching this latest Susty Talk video interview from Edie. This is our series of one-on-one video interviews that we've been running since the start of 2020 to keep us all feeling a bit more connected and energised throughout COVID and beyond. And I'm delighted to have Clay Van Doren from Atos on the line today. As you can see, nice branded office you're in there. And he is CEO for Northern Europe, based in London. So thank you so much for your time, Clay. How are you this afternoon?
Yeah, Sarah, I'm very well, thank you, and thanks for having me.
No, it's great to have you on. I believe that we were meant to catch up at COP, and schedules just didn't allow, with so much running between the blue and green zone and so many meetings at all hours of the day.
Yeah, it was very intense, but you know, I think in a very positive way, generally speaking. Learned a lot, and it was great to see the energy.
Of course, and we can recap on COP in a moment. I think it'd be good, though. I think it's the first time we've had Atos on one of these calls, so it'd be great to hear about your involvement with sustainability as the CEO. So how that sits at the company and how that's embedded at board level, and how you work with the professionals in that field.
Yeah, sure. So it's a top 3 issue at Atos, has been, you know, for some time, including a series of commitments about accelerating our net zero. But we've been brought that to 2028 recently. You know, further than that, we've committed to the 1.5 pact, and we've even gone so far as to have a whole service line focused on supporting our customers on decarbonization and their attempts to get to an improved position around net zero. So it really is a big issue. As a matter of fact, we were recently looking at an acquisition, and one of the board members, the first question they asked me was, well, how does this fit into our decarbonization strategy? Which interesting, because I wasn't anticipating that question. Great to see that that's a top 3 issue for them as well.
Of course, and we can reflect on COP, I think, as well, to get into this. So we were both there, and a lot of people who were there, including myself, have just remarked at the business presence there, which was remarkable to see. And people have said, obviously, having UK as a host, they were really keen to show off UK PLC, to show off like tech-based solutions and business solutions. So I wanted to get your thoughts on COP26 as a business. I don't know if you went to any of the others and maybe notice any difference in business positioning.
Yeah, no, I can't say I went to any of the previous 25, but what I would say is, you know, from all measurements, energy, attendance, that it was different, which is great to see. So we'll probably talk more about it later, about collective is essential in delivering this result. We can't do it as an individual organization, whether we're public or private sector, but everybody coming together. Also, as you know, a member of the UK society, it was a proud moment, seeing the UK really front and center on this pivotal global issue that, you know, we're all now taking increasingly seriously. So it was great to see, and the fact that we had so many CEOs and so many C-level individuals and their equivalents from public sector present from all over the world really shows that this isn't a back office issue anymore, right? That this isn't something you do on the sideline, that it's front and center to the attraction of talent. It's front and center to the ability to improve your profitability and your livelihood. So really, really good to see. Haven't seen another initiative that's drawn this much attention outside of the G series, really.
No, it was definitely there to see, and something that we're thinking about now is sort of how this display that you've seen and that energy can be continued, because it was badged in national press as very much like, oh, 2 weeks to save the world, and John Kerry saying this is our last best chance. But there's so much work that's been going on already, and so much work that goes on year round from all of the different organisations you've mentioned. And you mentioned there the importance of collaboration, and also the importance of higher target setting and on collaboration on that as well. So I wanted to get your take on how businesses now need to convert that big top level Glasgow Pact, that 12-pager, I think it is, it's not very long, into what they're doing, and take that into the next phase as we look into the new year.
So I think first and foremost, it is making sure that you get clear on your own measurements, and if you're not clear on how to do the measurements, that you buddy up with people that are possibly more experienced in that, because it is all starting with measuring, and it's very enlightening when you actually go start measuring. And there's companies like Atos and some of the dashboards we have that can help you with that. But I think once you start seeing that, then inevitably you get engagement in the problem solving, right? So probably one of the biggest awareness items for us along the way was the amount of contribution that our supply chain and value chain plays in our overall footprint, right? So that's something that everyone needs to go and think about on their own terms. But I think in terms of the broader COP26, I think it's a question of having the targets, measuring, and then problem solving beyond it, but then making sure that you follow up on all the relationships and activities that were there. So for instance, I've already got 4 additional meetings with people that were at companies like National Grid and DEFRA that were unrelated to the people I was meeting with at the time, where we're following up to talk about how we do that better together in the partnerships that we already have. So I think it's measure and then act, is really probably the crux of it.
Yeah, it's definitely that follow through, isn't it? So target setting, definitely, we saw so much of it in 2019 and 20, so right after the government are doing it, and now we're getting a lot of sort of first reports or companies saying, actually, we can accelerate it as you guys have done.
Yeah, and I think, what is 6 companies now have got some form of net zero commitments, which is great to see. I want it to be 100%, but it's interesting that there's going to be a tipping point in this where it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm not quite sure what that is. I guess in most of these instances, you don't know when you've hit the tipping point, because you only know you've hit the tipping point after you've hit it. But I think we'll see some real momentum pick up as people realize it's absolutely central to their competitiveness for attraction of individuals, and the selection by customers. All those things are coming together and at pace. How fast, Sarah, I don't know, but it's definitely happening.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed as well, because people have often talk about, how's the policy moving? What does the international agreement saying? But as you're saying, certain other things are moving quicker. So it's quicker probably that some board members are asking about talent attraction, about customer attraction, about mergers and brand values and collaboration, as you've mentioned.
Yeah, and it's the how, particularly for some of the more recent hires, is absolutely essential, right? I think it was important for me all along the way as well, but what the work they're going to be doing and what the work represents and the entity that they're part of is absolutely at the core of their decision making around what business they want to come to and what business do they want to stay with. And the carbon footprint and our ability to be better for the planet is absolutely at the core of that decision making. And so COP26 feeds into that, which I think is a real positive. We're starting to create a bit of a virtuous cycle, of positivity there, but we have to stick with it. There's no doubt.
Thank you so much. And you mentioned tipping points there, and that's something that's been talked about a lot. But in setting up this call, I got emailed with another interesting phrase that I'd like to delve into, which is the net zero multiplier effect, as you mentioned. So it's sort of going beyond sort of the minimum of what you can do and looking at where else you can enact change, maybe bigger change than you could directly. So it'd be good to hear a little bit more about what that is and what that means.
So I think the most obvious place does start with your the supply chain effect that comes out of this. And if I look at what's happening from our government customers, for instance, they're now measuring us on our carbon footprint because we're part of their value chain. And we're now in turn measuring our existing partners and potential partners downstream on their value chain, on their carbon footprint. So as you bring all that together, as everyone's measuring everyone else to go for an additional goal, you do in effect drive that multiplier effect, because now one person picking it means that there's probably another 4 or 5 companies downstream that to partner with them have to also be carbon friendly. But then fast forward, and that's the next step, then they have to then compete with other players, and if they're not as carbon friendly as I am or the Atos value chain, then it becomes more difficult for them to win in the marketplace. So there is a bit of a snowball effect, you know, in terms of the multiplier. There's also things around technology and as a multiplier as well, that are building on, I guess, what I would call those value chain developments.
And I'm assuming as well that there's not just a carbon benefit here, because we're hearing at the moment, like, you know, we're still in a recession, we're in the middle of the economic recovery from the pandemic, and some suppliers and SMEs might not have the in-house expertise or the finance that they need to do this on their own. So I'm presuming that the net zero multiplier effect can help overcome that challenge with net zero as well.
No, that it certainly can. I mean, and there's also an element about digital and elimination of waste, which also directly has a benefit on society. So there is, again, another virtuous cycle there, where if you do digital, you have a smaller carbon footprint that results in less waste. That in turn gives you more money to invest in other things, and, you know, including additional technology investments, which further drive digital, which in turn further you know, improve the profitability and reduce waste. So the two tend to be linked, not perfectly, but the two tend to be linked.
Great, and I think that's an incredibly neat and positive note to finish on, Clay. And as you say, neither of us are experts in forecasting sustainability tipping points and markets, but it looks like we have a lot to look forward to as we head into 2022. So thank you so much for your time on Susty Talks today.
And good luck.